Friday, the 71st day of nationwide uprisings, saw a surge in demonstrations in Sistan and Baluchistan province, with huge crowds in the streets, particularly in Zahedan, chanting "Death to Khamenei." Other cities in the province, such as Khash, Chahbahar, and Iranshahr, were the scenes of protests as well. Security forces opened fire on unarmed and defenseless protesters, with dozens killed and injured, which exact figures are still unknown. In Karaj, west of Tehran, protesters attacked an IRGC paramilitary Basij Force base in the city of Fardis. In Tehran, people came out in Naziabad district with protesters chanting "Death to the Dictator, Azadi, Azadi, Azadi," meaning freedom, freedom, freedom. In Isfahan, protesters came out to the streets against the regime. Last night in Tehran, people converged in the streets of various neighborhoods, including Vali-e Asr, City Theatre, Tehranpars, Moshiriyeh, Tajrish, Narmak, Coca-Cola, Piroozi St, Shemiran Nou, Sattarkhan, Punak, Ekbatan, and Chitgar. Protesters chanted "Death to Khamenei, death to the dictator, death to the entirety of the regime. Poverty, corruption, and high costs of life, we shall carry on until the overthrow of this regime. This year is the year of sacrifice. Seyyed Ali Khamenei will be overthrown. And from Kurdistan to Tehran, my life for Iran." Protesters in Tehran's Chitgar district chanted, "Our money is spent in Lebanon, our youth languish in jails." Basij forces and plainclothes agents vandalized people's cars and began blind shooting at houses in various areas of Tehran, in another act of state violence against the people. In areas such as Moshiriyeh in Tehran, clashes broke out as people stood in defiance with their resistance against suppressive forces. In Kashani and Hakim Highway, large state-installed billboards were torched. Sepah Square, an icon of the IRGC in Park Dasht of Tehran, was also set on fire. Residents in Yazd, Kermanshah, Hamedan, Ahvaz, Isfahan, Urmiye, Zahedan, Fardis, Golshahr, and Mehshahr districts of Karaj, and several other locations staged nightly protests chanting "Death to the Dictator" and "Years of atrocities and crimes, death to the Supreme Leader." The Sunni leader of Baluchistan dismissed the regime's latest overture to garner support through bringing reformists to the scene to help contain ongoing unrest, saying the era of reform has surpassed. Maulavi Abdul Hamid said in his Friday prayer sermon that the so-called reformists disappointed the people repeatedly, acknowledging that the Iranian people have moved past this bankrupt faction of the regime. "Time was wasted and we have lost the opportunity to reform," said Maulavi Abdul Hamid.